Beneath the world's most legendary monuments lie secrets older than history itself. Hidden chambers, impossible designs, and whispers from civilizations long gone. They have waited in silence for millennia, for someone daring enough to uncover the truth. Carved from a single mass of limestone, the Great Sphinx of Giza has watched over the desert sands for more than 4,500 years. Yet its true purpose remains unknown. Measuring 73 meters long and 20 meters high, this half-lion, half-human monument sits near the Great Pyramids, facing directly east as if guarding something long forgotten. Most scholars date its construction to the reign of Pharaoh Khafre, around 2500 BCE. But this attribution is based more on proximity than direct evidence. The Sphinx bears no clear inscriptions linking it to any known ruler. Weathering patterns on its body have sparked debate for decades. Some geologists argue that the deep vertical erosion marks suggest water damage, perhaps from heavy rainfall thousands of years before Khafre's time, challenging the accepted timeline. Could the Sphinx predate even the pyramids? Its face, once detailed and symmetrical, has eroded over time, and its missing nose, often assumed to have been destroyed by cannon fire or chisels, only deepens the enigma. Nearby tunnels and sealed chambers, detected but not fully explored, hint at hidden layers still buried beneath the sand. Was the Sphinx a monument, a celestial marker, or something else entirely? Even after centuries of study, the Sphinx does not speak. It only watches, waiting for someone to ask the right question. On the windswept plains of Wiltshire, England, a ring of ancient stones rises from the earth, silent, massive, and impossibly precise. This is Stonehenge, one of humanity's most enduring mysteries. Constructed in multiple stages between 300 and 1500 BCE, Stonehenge is more than just a circle of rocks. The outer ring of sarsen stones, each weighing up to 25 tons, is topped with horizontal lintels. Inside, smaller bluestones, transported nearly 150 miles from the Preseli Hills in Wales, form an inner horseshoe. No wheels, no cranes, and no written records explaining how or why. Archaeologists believe the site had ceremonial or astronomical significance. The stones align perfectly with the sunrise on the summer solstice and the sunset on the winter solstice, suggesting a deep understanding of celestial cycles. But was it a calendar? A place of healing? Portal between worlds? Human remains found nearby show signs of burial, ritual, and long-distance travel. Some visitors came from across the British Isles, drawn, perhaps, by beliefs we can no longer access. Stonehenge is not just a monument, it's a question carved in stone. Thousands of years later, the stones still stand, not explaining, only inviting us to wonder what the builders knew, that we've somehow forgotten. Deep within the rose-red cliffs of southern Jordan lies Petra, a lost city carved directly into stone. But beyond its grandeur and facades lies a lesser-known mystery, the sound chambers hidden within its ancient architecture. Among Petra's many carved tombs and temples are domed halls and narrow passageways that seem to manipulate sound in curious ways. Inside some of these chambers, even a whisper can carry across the room, while footsteps echo with unnatural clarity. Archaeologists and acoustical engineers have studied the design. Some chambers appear to amplify low-frequency tones, while others create directional echoes that follow the listener like a shadow. But was this intentional? Some researchers believe these chambers were engineered for ritual. Perhaps priests or Nabatean elites used sound to create an atmosphere of awe or even fear. Imagine chants reverberating through rock, voices appearing to come from nowhere, sound vibrating through the body like a physical force. Yet there are no inscriptions explaining their purpose. No diagrams. Only stone shaped with an understanding that seems far ahead of its time. Did the Nabateans discover principles of acoustic design long before modern science? The city of Petra still hums with secrets, and in its silent chambers, if you listen closely, you might just hear the past speaking back. Rising from the golden sands of Sudan, far from the crowds of Giza, stand the forgotten pyramids of Meroe. sharp, steep, and strangely silent. Built by the Kingdom of Kush between 800 BCE and 350 CE, these pyramids are smaller than their Egyptian cousins, yet more numerous. Over 200 of them pierce the desert sky, marking the burial sites of kings, queens, and nobles of a once powerful African civilization. Their narrow angles and distinct architectural style reflect a fusion of native innovation and distant influence, Egyptian, Greco-Roman, and beyond. But the true enigma lies inside. Many of the tombs were looted long ago, and yet, faded wall paintings and inscriptions still whisper fragments of ancient rituals, gods, and journeys to the afterlife. Some show Kushite queens wielding power equal to kings, hinting at a society where women played vital roles in rule and religion. The Meroitic script, etched across temple walls, remains largely undeciphered to this day. Without a Rosetta Stone, their written language is locked, denying us full access to the thoughts, beliefs, and knowledge of a lost empire. Why did such a mighty civilization vanish into obscurity? And what messages are buried beneath those angular stones? In the quiet of Meroe, the pyramids endure, watching, waiting, as if guarding answers we no longer know how to read. In the heart of ancient Thebes, modern-day Luxor, stands a monument so vast, it defies imagination. The Temple of Karnak. Not a single temple, but a sprawling complex built over 2,000 years, layer upon layer of belief, ambition, and power. Covering over 200 acres, Karnak is the largest religious structure ever built by man. Its towering columns in the hypostyle hall soar 70 feet into the sky, carved with hieroglyphs that still glow gold at sunrise. Obelisks of solid granite pierce the air, casting shadows over courtyards once filled with chanting priests and the scent of burning incense. Every pharaoh from the Middle Kingdom to the late Ptolemies added their mark, expanding, renovating, erasing the names of rivals. Yet the core of Karnak remained dedicated to Ammonius Ra, the hidden god of the sun, whose sacred bark was once carried through processional avenues during holy festivals. But Karnak holds more than beauty. Beneath its stones, underground chambers and hidden sanctuaries hint at rituals never fully recorded. The alignment of pylons and corridors follows celestial patterns, suggesting that this was more than architecture. It was a map of the cosmos, a divine engine of order and eternity. Even today, as wind moves through its broken columns, Karnak feels alive, a monument built not just for gods, but by men trying to become them. It began with a story written over 2,000 years ago by the philosopher Plato, a tale of a mighty island civilization, rich in gold, knowledge, and ambition, that vanished in a single day and night. Atlantis. According to Plato, it lay beyond the Pillars of Hercules, larger than Libya and Asia combined. Its people had advanced technologies, vast fleets, and towering temples, until their pride brought their downfall, swallowed by the sea in a divine punishment. But was it a parable, or a memory wrapped in myth? Since then, explorers and scholars have searched for Atlantis across the globe. Some point to the Mediterranean, linking it to the volcanic destruction of Thera, modern-day Santorini. Others look to the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean, even Antarctica. Sonar scans, underwater ruins, and megalithic structures have fueled countless theories, but no definitive proof. Stranger still, remnants of lost civilizations have surfaced in places long thought isolated. Submerged roads off the coast of Bimini, stone rings beneath Spanish marshes, ruins with no clear origin. Was Atlantis a real place, or an echo of many sunken worlds remembered as one? As oceans rise and technology deepens, new clues may still emerge. Until then, Atlantis remains a mirror, reflecting our hopes and warnings from the deep. Etched into the arid plains of southern Peru, the Nazca lines stretch across the desert like whispers from another world, colossal shapes and figures that can only be seen from the sky. Drawn between 500 BCE and 500 CE by the ancient Nazca culture, these geoglyphs span over 80 kilometers and include straight lines, spirals, trapezoids, and more than 70 animal and plant designs. A hummingbird, a spider, a monkey with a coiled tail. Each is formed by removing the dark surface stones to reveal lighter earth beneath. Simple in method, yet enormous in scale. But why were they made? Some researchers believe the lines were part of ritual pathways, walked during ceremonies to honor water gods or celestial events. Others point to astronomical alignments, sight lines to solstices, constellations, or planetary cycles. Still others suggest they mark underground aquifers, mapping a hidden water system in one of the driest places on Earth. And then, there are theories that wander further, from ancient flight paths to messages meant for beings above. Despite decades of study, the Nazca lines offer no clear explanation. No written records, no temples nearby, just silence and scale. Perhaps their purpose wasn't to be understood from the ground at all. Perhaps they were drawn for the sky, and whatever might have been watching from it. Tucked into the remote hills of northern Greece, near the ruins of ancient Dodona, whispers a structure lost to history, known in legend as the Temple of Echoes, a place where sound did not simply bounce. It answered. Though no fully confirmed archaeological site bears this exact name today, local lore and scattered ruins point to a mysterious circular chamber, built of stone and polished marble. According to ancient texts and oral traditions, this temple was said to contain perfect acoustics, where a single word spoken at the center would travel the walls, return amplified, and sometimes repeat, altered. Pilgrims are said to have visited seeking prophecies. They'd ask questions aloud and listen, not for a voice from the gods, but for the echo itself. Was the answer in the repetition, in the tone, in what was not returned? Some modern researchers believe the site may have been an early experiment in acoustic engineering, like Epidaurus, whose amphitheater carries the sound of a whisper across thousands of seats. Others suggest it served a mystical function, where sound was treated as sacred, a bridge between the physical and the divine. But the exact temple, its builders, its full purpose, all remain unknown. And if the temple truly answered back, then its last words may still be circling stone, waiting for someone to listen again. Beneath the rocky hills of central Turkey lies a hidden world, carved not into cliffs, but under them. The underground cities of Cappadocia are vast, intricate, and still cloaked in mystery. Stretching down as many as 18 levels, these subterranean cities, like Derinkuyu and Kimakli, once housed thousands of people, complete with living quarters, wine cellars, schools, wells, and even ventilation shafts. They were more than shelters. They were self-sustaining civilizations, hidden beneath the earth. No one knows exactly who built them. Some archaeologists trace the earliest levels back to the Hittites around 2000 BCE, later expanded by early Christians fleeing Roman persecution. Carved into soft volcanic rock, the passageways are narrow by design, defensive, easily sealed off with massive stone doors that could only be moved from the inside. But the scale and precision raise questions. How did ancient builders manage such engineering feats with limited tools? And why were such massive underground networks necessary in the first place? Were they hiding from enemies or from something else? Today, only a portion of these cities has been excavated. Many tunnels remain sealed, winding further into darkness. What lies at their deepest point is still unknown. In Cappadocia, the earth doesn't just hold history. It is history, layered, buried, and waiting to be rediscovered. Long before the pyramids of Egypt rose from the desert, another civilization was building monuments that reached toward the heavens. In the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, the Sumerians raised towering structures known as ziggurats. These massive, step temples were not places of gathering, but of ascent, each level a symbolic stairway between earth and sky. Built from sun-dried mud bricks, ziggurats could rise over 100 feet, with broad bases and receding terraces crowned by a sacred shrine. From the city of Uar to Eridu, these monuments anchored the spiritual and political life of Sumer. But little is known about what happened inside. Unlike later temples, ziggurats were not accessible to the general public. Only priests and select officials could ascend their levels. It was believed that the gods descended from the heavens to dwell in the upper sanctuaries. Offerings were made, rituals performed, but the details lost in time. Cuneiform tablets mention divine connections, cosmic order, and celestial alignment. Some researchers believe ziggurats mirrored the heavens, each tier corresponding to a known planet or deity. Others suggest they were part of a larger system of communication between gods, or perhaps something else. Today, many ziggurats lie in ruins, their bricks scattered by centuries of wind and war, but their presence endures, silent, solemn staircases to the unknown. And still, they leave us wondering, what were the Sumerians really reaching for? Towering over the Giza Plateau, the Great Pyramid of Khufu has stood for over 4,500 years, an eternal monument to ancient engineering. Yet despite centuries of study, it still guards secrets deep within its core. One of the most tantalizing, the Lost Chamber. In 2017, a team of researchers using advanced muon radiography, a technique that tracks cosmic particles passing through stone, detected an anomaly. Above the Grand Gallery, hidden within the pyramid's heart, they found a previously unknown void, at least 30 meters long, untouched by modern tools, and completely inaccessible. No entrance has yet been found, no artifacts recovered, and no one knows why it exists. Some theorists suggest it could be a structural feature, a relieving space to protect the corridor below. But others wonder, could it be a hidden sanctuary? A sealed archive of sacred knowledge? Or the missing burial chamber of Khufu himself? The Great Pyramid was built with extraordinary precision, aligning almost perfectly with the cardinal points. Its internal layout, narrow shafts, blind corridors, and hidden rooms, suggests intention beyond function. And now, with this silent void concealed in solid limestone, a new question rises. What did they choose to hide? So deep, so deliberately, and for so long? The lost chamber remains unopened, and until it speaks, the pyramid keeps its most profound answer in silence. In the shadow of the Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent, deep beneath the ancient city of Teotihuacan, lies a passage long forgotten, sealed for nearly 2,000 years. What it leads to has only recently begun to emerge, a secret chamber buried in silence, purposefully hidden by those who built it. Discovered in 2003 by archaeologist Sergio Gomez, the tunnel beneath the Temple of the Feathered Serpent runs nearly 100 meters long. As researchers carefully excavated the passage, they uncovered a trail of offerings: jade, obsidian blades, seashells, even liquid mercury, shimmering in the dark like pools of starlight. At the end of the tunnel lies a complex of underground chambers. Their layout mimics the cosmos, a symbolic underworld where rulers may have communed with gods or sought to become them. But there's something even more curious. Unlike most tombs in Mesoamerica, no royal bodies have been found at Teotihuacan. Were these chambers part of a burial ritual, a gateway to another realm, or a vault of sacred knowledge meant to remain untouched? The city itself, once home to over 100,000 people, left no written record. Its builders remain anonymous, its fall unexplained. Now, as archaeologists inch closer to the deepest chamber, Teotihuacan holds its breath, because whatever lies beyond that final wall was meant to stay hidden, until now. High in the mesas and cliffs of the American Southwest, the ancestral Puebloans, often called the Anasazi, left behind a world carved in stone. Among their cliff dwellings and ceremonial kivas lies a lesser-known mystery: chambers that seem designed not just for sight or ritual, but for sound. At sites like Chaco Canyon, circular subterranean rooms known as Great Kivas possess remarkable acoustic properties. A single voice, spoken softly at the center, can carry clearly to the edges. Drums echo with a resonance that seems to vibrate through the earth itself. Some chambers even feature carved niches and stone vents that subtly alter sound direction and depth. But these effects weren't accidental. Archaeologists and acoustic engineers have studied these spaces and concluded that they were likely tuned for ceremony, storytelling, or spiritual experience. Sound may have been used to summon emotion, to mimic thunder, or to simulate the voices of ancestors. Some theories suggest a connection to celestial events, with sound acting as a medium between the earthly and divine. And yet, the Anasazi left no written language. No inscriptions explain the true intent behind these designs. All we have are echoes, literal and cultural, left in hollow chambers of stone. Were these sound chambers used to speak to the gods, or to remember the voices of those who once did? Either way, in the silence of the desert, the Anasazi still speak, if you know how to listen. Beneath the quiet streets of modern-day Malta lies one of the most enigmatic structures of the ancient world, the Hal Saflieni Hypogeum. Carved entirely by hand over 5,000 years ago, this subterranean complex descends through 3 levels of chambers, passageways, and altars, all hidden in total darkness. But it's not just the architecture that baffles researchers. It's the sound. In one chamber, known as the Oracle Room, a man's voice speaking at specific frequencies resonates with eerie power, vibrating through stone, flesh, and air. Tones between 90 and 120 hertz create an acoustic effect so profound, it can be felt in the bones of those present. The resonance is not random. The chamber's curves and dimensions appear to have been intentionally designed to amplify and manipulate sound. What was its purpose? Some believe it was a sacred space for ritual chanting or trance induction. Others suggest the vibrations may have altered human perception, perhaps to connect with the divine or the dead. Skeptics call it coincidence, but no other Neolithic site produces a similar effect. There are no written records from the builders of the Hypogeum, only echoes. Was this an ancient sound laboratory? A sacred technology now lost to time? In the stillness below Malta, the walls continue to hum, as if remembering every voice ever spoken there. Hidden beneath the island of Malta, carved into living limestone, lies one of the most mysterious prehistoric monuments ever discovered, the Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni. Dating back to around 4000 BCE, this underground complex spans 3 levels and more than 30 rooms, all hewn by hand using primitive tools. Long before metal, electricity, or writing, Neolithic builders created a labyrinth of passageways, burial chambers, and altars, entirely in darkness. But its most astonishing feature is not what you see, it's what you hear. In a chamber known as the Oracle Room, sound behaves unlike anywhere else. A male voice speaking within a narrow frequency, between 90 and 120 hertz, creates a deep resonance that floods the entire complex. Modern acoustic tests confirm this phenomenon is not natural. The chamber's shape, size, and smooth walls appear intentionally designed to enhance and direct sound. Why? Some believe the Hypogeum was a sacred space used in rituals where vibration, voice, and silence were tools of spiritual transformation. Others wonder if the resonance altered human consciousness, used to induce trance, connect with ancestors, or access hidden states of awareness. No texts remain, no symbols explain, only the bones of over 7,000 people, and the echoes of a forgotten science. In the quiet stone beneath Malta, the Hypogeum does not speak, but it listens, and perhaps it remembers. Etched into the side of a coastal hill overlooking the Bay of Pisco in Peru, the Paracas cantilever stretches over 180 feet tall, so massive it can be seen from 12 miles out at sea, and yet no one knows who carved it or why. Unlike the nearby Nazca lines, which lie inland, this geoglyph faces the Pacific Ocean. Its shape resembles a trident, or perhaps a candlestick, hence its modern name. But to the ancient Paracas culture, who flourished in this region over 2,000 years ago, its meaning remains unknown. The design was created by scooping away the dark surface soil to reveal the lighter sand beneath. A simple method, but one that has preserved the figure through centuries of wind and erosion. No vegetation grows on the hill, and the climate is so dry that even time itself seems reluctant to touch it. Theories abound. Some suggest it was a navigational marker for ancient sailors. Others see mythological symbolism, perhaps linked to Viracocha, the Andean creator god. A few speculate on more unconventional ideas: astronomical calendars, psychedelic rituals, or contact with beings from beyond. But no artifacts have been found. No writings explain its origin. The Paracas candelabra remains solitary and silent, carved high above the crashing waves. Not a message shouted, but a question etched in stone, meant for those who dare to look up and wonder. Long ago, before the rise of the great temples of Karnak or the towering pyramids of Giza, ancient writers spoke of a structure unlike any other, a colossal maze near the city of Hawera. It was known as the Great Labyrinth of Egypt. First described by the Greek historian Herodotus in the 5th century BCE, the labyrinth was said to contain 3,000 chambers, spread across multiple levels, some above ground, others carved deep beneath the earth. He claimed it surpassed even the pyramids in grandeur. Later accounts by Pliny the Elder and Strabo echoed his words, describing endless halls, towering columns, and hidden tombs, all enclosed within a massive stone enclosure. But today, little remains. What was once one of the greatest architectural achievements of the ancient world now lies mostly buried beneath sand and farmland near the Pyramid of Amenemhat III. A few scattered ruins suggest something monumental once stood here, and radar scans in recent decades have hinted at large, unexplored cavities underground. Was it a palace? A temple complex? A cosmic map rendered in stone? And why would such a wonder vanish so completely from history? The desert has a way of swallowing memory. But beneath the silence of Hawera, the labyrinth may still be waiting, its chambers untouched, its secrets sealed for now. Beneath the golden cliffs of Luxor, the Valley of the Kings holds the tombs of Egypt's most powerful pharaohs. Carved deep into the rock, these sacred spaces were designed to preserve royal souls for eternity. But some chambers within these tombs possess a curious and lesser-known feature: resonance. In tombs like that of Thutmose III and Seti I, archaeologists and sound engineers have documented strange acoustic properties. Soft chants can echo unnaturally across the room. A single footstep can seem to multiply. In certain vaulted ceilings and narrow passageways, sound doesn't just reflect. It lingers, creating a sense of presence, of weight, of something unseen. Were these effects intentional? Some scholars believe so. The ancient Egyptians saw sound as a force of power, used in rituals to awaken the senses, connect with the gods, or guide the dead through the afterlife. Hieroglyphs often depict priests speaking sacred words, activating divine protection. Perhaps these chambers were not just burial rooms, but places where vibration itself played a role in crossing realms. No inscriptions explain the design. No ancient texts speak of sonic architecture. But the stone seems to remember. In the silence of these tombs, the air still hums, not with the voices of the living, but with echoes meant for the journey beyond. In the heart of the Yucatan jungle stands Chichen Itza, once a thriving city of the Maya, now a silent monument to their genius. But beyond its towering pyramids and carved serpent stairways, Chichen Itza holds a mystery that cannot be seen, only heard. Walk the steps of El Castillo, the temple of Kukulkan, and clap your hands. From the stone comes a chirping echo, sharp, high-pitched, unmistakably avian. Researchers have matched the sound to the sacred Quetzal bird, whose call symbolized divinity and kingship. This acoustic illusion wasn't an accident. It's the result of precise architectural design. But the sound mysteries don't end there. At the nearby Great Ball Court, the largest of its kind in Mesoamerica, sound travels with eerie perfection. A whisper from one end can be heard clearly at the other, over 500 feet away. The curved walls and sloping angles create an acoustic channel, allowing speech and possibly ritual chants to move like wind through stone. Why such care for sound? The Maya believed that the spoken word carried power. Rituals, music, and offerings weren't just performed. They were activated through resonance. Every echo may have had meaning, every vibration, a message for the gods. Today, Chichen Itza stands quiet, but listen closely, and the stones still speak, in echoes shaped by ancient minds. Hidden among the rolling hills of the Yucatan Peninsula lies Uxmal, an ancient Maya city wrapped in myth, geometry, and sound. At its center stands the Pyramid of the Magician, unlike any other structure in Mesoamerica. Oval in shape, steep in form, and curved along its sides, the pyramid defies traditional Maya design. But what makes it truly mysterious is what happens when you speak near its base. A clap, a shout, even a soft word, echoes back not as a simple reflection, but as a transformed sound. Many visitors report a strange chirp or musical tone rebounding from the stone. Acoustic researchers have studied this phenomenon. The steps and curvature of the pyramid create a unique echo signature, reminiscent of the call of the sacred Quetzal bird, just like at Chichen Itza. But here, the shape of the structure amplifies the effect. Some believe this resonance wasn't merely decorative, but intentional, a way to summon, honor, or imitate the divine. The Maya considered sound a tool of connection. Music, voice, and echo were part of ritual and architecture alike, woven into the very stones of their cities. And in Uxmal, the Pyramid of the Magician may have been both a temple and an instrument. Even now, centuries later, when the jungle grows quiet, the pyramid still responds, as if waiting to complete a ritual never finished.